Good morning. The complex problem of recidivist drink drivers is more prominent than ever, whereby they account for a significant proportion of drink driving crashes. Tasmanian data confirms that alcohol continues to be a leading factor in a significant proportion of serious casualties and crashes resulting in death. The inclusion of a driving while intoxicated court should be established in Tasmania to help provide a promising alternative to traditional penalty-imposing sentencing approaches for recidivist drink drivers. Furthermore, this leads to the questions of what type and level of recidivism which qualify a person to be labelled an RDD should eligibility criteria stipulate. Should first-time offenders be included, and if so, under what circumstances? The purpose of this research study will be to examine the detrimental effects of RDDs in the community and create a structure for DWI courts to be used in Tasmania and eventually throughout Australia. These will include determining the target audience, performing clinical assessment on the subjects, developing treatment plans, supervising the offender, creating community organisational support, taking judicial leadership role, developing case management strategies, addressing transportation issues, evaluating the program as a whole and ensuring its sustainability. Furthermore, it will look at the social and ethical context of the problem whilst attempting to find a viable solution to the problem and RDDs. While the drink driver disqualifier list has been proposed in Victoria, there are currently no specialised courts in Australia dedicated to addressing the problem of repeat drink drivers. The inclusion of a driving while intoxicated court should be established to help provide a promising alternative to traditional penalty-imposing sentencing approaches for RDDs. The desirability of establishing a DWI court and determining how it will operate are key questions that lay at the forefront of the Tasmanian Law Reform Institute when considering how a DWI court will function for repeat offenders. First of these issues needing addressing is the structure of a DWI court, which falls into the following categories: a pre-sentence program by way of adjournment and deferral of sentencing, post-sentence program by way of an unactivated term of imprisonment, and a post-sentence program by way of a condition attached to a community-based order. All three types of programs offer a variety of options for offenders. The second issue needing addressing before a DWI court is established is determining the target audience and what makes a person eligible. Next, we have the third issue to be considered when considering a DWI court, if it has the capacity for custom-tailored sentencing and its development of case management strategies, which do not exist in regular courts. They can test for alcohol testing, detoxification regimes, attending educational, employment and rehabilitation programs, submitting to medical, psychiatric or psychological treatment, not associating with problem persons, residing in a nominated residence, and any other condition really that the court sees fit. From here raises the fourth issue of what type and level of recidivism qualify a person to be labelled as a recidivist drink driver. Criteria exist to help stipulate who should be considered eligible. Firstly, a person must be considered to a DWI court by the police, a magistrate or prosecution or a defence. After that, referral and assessment can be made on the offender as to their level of risk, and the appropriate conditions must be placed on them to protect themselves and others. Developing a treatment plan is of critical importance for RDDs, however it must cater for each individual and their mental and physical health. Such principles can include motivation to continue with treatment plans whilst discouraging substance abuse. Then it's the combination of these services which aid greatly in the treatment of repeat drink drivers. Combination of psychological, medical, legal and community support are all needed for this diverse and complex problem. Each field offers its own unique insights and services to the offender to help better their chances of recovery. Without this comprehensive approach to recidivist drivers, the likelihood of reoffending is elevated due to the complexity of the addiction. The psychological counselling is critical for changing the cognitive behaviour of the offender, whilst the medical programs can help to enforce this. The law has the capacity to enforce that the offender continue with the program, whilst the community support services help to reintroduce the offender back into a functional society with support and guidance. All of these services are offered via DWI courts, which make their importance within Australian society so very critical. Thank you for listening today.